Amnesty International and the United Nations have both labelled Woodfox's imprisonment inhumane because of the length of time he is spending in solitary confinement.
Yeah, and studies have shown that prolonged periods of solitary confinement can cause depression and physical illness. No surprise there, right?
Yeah, for a closer look of the impact of all of this, we're joined by psychologist Wendy Walsh in Los Angeles. So, Wendy, I just want to read you, there was this New York Times editorial which came out last year, and it read in part, even comparatively brief solitary confinement can cause severe mental and emotional trauma. A United Nations expert has said that more than 15 days may amount to torture. When it is imposed for more than 40 years, it is barbaric beyond measure. Would you say that's a pretty correct assessment in terms of emotional and mental trauma?
I think that is a fair assessment. Remember, human beings are wired to have social interactions. I mean, we evolved in a tribe. In fact, our relationships with others are intrinsic to our sense of self. So when you remove contact with others, when you remove those relationships, you're actually killing a part of self. And the kinds of consequences can be besides anxiety and depression. You can have even hallucinations. You can have physical pain. I mean, look at the simple thing of a breakup of one romantic relationship, how much physical and emotional pain somebody might have because part of their identity is lost when they lose an attachment figure.
If someone can develop hallucinations, panic attacks, hypersensitivity to external stimuli, this is all the evidence which has been presented to various trials over the years about the impact of being inside solitary confinement. Paranoia, impulse control problems, that can happen after just a few days. What is the likely impact for somebody who has been in solitary confinement for 43 years like Woodfox?
You know, obviously it's a difference if somebody is already an adult, but we certainly have evidence of people raised by animals in their if they were left abandoned in their developing years, that they fail to actually be able to learn language. They fail to be able to sometimes walk upright. So at least his brain was developed, and he was socialized in a certain way before he was put away. But I think the bigger issue here is that in America, this is one of the things that's happening to our mentally ill. Since we have opened the mental hospitals and I've decided instead to wait until people commit a crime and then incarcerate them in order to protect the prison population, we're simply taking people who are already mentally ill, not necessarily this gentleman, and putting them in solitary confinement, and I think that's abuse.
And we're putting him in solitary confinement on a regular basis for years and years and years. The odd thing is that solitary confinement originally began about 100-something years ago in the prison system as a form of rehabilitation. But the bottom line here is that it is a total failure because it can actually just make matters worse.
Of course it makes matters worse, and I think you used the most operative word there, barbaric.